וכל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה למירב אמר ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרב משמיים וכם עלינו וכל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום עם ברומה ויעשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל ואמרו אמן. What?
Erev Tov, everyone. This week's parsha, we have the famous incident regarding the brachot of Yitzchak, the competition between Esav and Yaakov, and how Yaakov obtained the brachot. It's a never-ending topic of discussion amongst all of the Mefarshim. There is one idea that the Meshech Chochmah, the Meir Simcha HaKohen of Dvinsk, in his Sefer Meshech Chochmah, expands upon, that the Meshech Chochmah is a combination of Pshat, Perush, Drush, of being able to expound upon matters, and also Halacha. It's a marvelous, he was a genius, a marvelous Perush, and it was written when he was a very young man yet. That was published after he published his major work on the Rambam, the Or Sameach. In it, he discusses, says that Vayiki Zokein Yitzchak became old, Vatecheno Ein of Meroz, couldn't see anymore. So Rashi comments, so why couldn't he see? So it's the other Mefarshim, the Rashbam and everyone else says, the Torah says why, because Kizokin Yitzchak, one of the dangers of old age is that the eyesight dims. You don't see as well anymore. But Rashi doesn't go in that direction. And Rashi instead quotes two midrashim. One medrash is that when Yitzchak was lying on the altar of the Akedah, so the angels in heaven wept. The Malachim wept at the tragedy that Yitzchak was about to be destroyed, and that the tears from heaven, so to speak, fell into his eyes, and they therefore later in life affected his eyesight. Then Rashi has another pshat, because in the house of Yitzchak and Rivka, Esav installed his wives. He brought them home, and that they burned incense to Avodah Zarah. So in the house of Yitzchak, there were clouds of smoke, of incense that were Avodah Zarah, and that somehow that smoke entered his eyes, the eyes of Yitzchak, and therefore he later in life could not see anymore. Then there is another pasuk at the end of the brachot, where the pasuk says, "Rei b'ni gereach sodeh asher beracho Hashem." See, my son, the fragrance that emanates from you is like the fragrance, Rashi says, of the apple orchard that's blessed by God. So there's a difference of opinion as who said that. Did Yitzchak say that? Is that part of the brachos? Or Yitzchak did not say it, but rather, so to speak, heaven said it, the Ruach HaKodesh said it, Shemayim said it. So the Meshech Chochmah puts all of this together, and he puts it together that the Meshech Chochmah is at the beginning of the 20th century. I think to a greater extent it resonates now in the 21st century, after what happened to us in the 20th century. Basically, he says Yitzchak does not see a future. That's what it means he can't see. It's not only he lost his eyesight, but he lost the sense of vision of the future. He's got this son Esav in the house with his wives. And Yaakov is a batlin, he's a yeshiva man. How's this ever going to work? What's going to be here? So he's sightless. He doesn't have a vision, can't see what's going to happen here. And he's sightless for two reasons. One reason is the Akedah. Jewish people are destroyed. The enmity of the world never ends. So how are we ever going to overcome that? And then the second reason that he is sightless is because there's avodah zarah in his own house, in the house of Jewish people. The Jewish people themselves are not loyal to Torah. They worship all types of strange gods. They burn incense to them. So he's sightless, he can't see. He has no vision. Somehow now Yaakov comes, and however we will look at the matter, but he obtains the brachot. And then there's a pasuk that says, Re'ei b'ni. So the Meshech Chochmah says that pasuk is said by the Ruach HaKodesh, said by Shemayim. Yitzchak said, I can't see. And the Rebbeinu Shalom said, no, Re'ei, look ahead, see, because you have a son. And that son, there's a fragrance that emanates from him, which is the fragrance of Gan Eden, of eternity. It's Kareach Sodeh Asher Beracho Hashem. And therefore, don't say that you can't see. Hey, look ahead. So I was always impressed by this beautiful Meshech Chochmah. But it's really prophecy about our time. Jewish people had no future, right? The Akedah destroyed us. A third of the people killed. Great traditions and academies of learning destroyed. a world that allowed it to happen, we have no future. And the Jewish people strayed away completely from their traditions, from Torah. They burn incense, Avodah Zarah. Every crazy idea, the Jews are for it. I mentioned it last night, boy's a girl is a boy. Yeah, that's a great idea. There's no limit to Avodah Zarah. So then we would have no future. But the Shemayim says, no, you're not allowed to say that. Hey, you do have a future. Look ahead. You'll have children that are immersed in Torah that will carry it forward. There are better generations to come. There are stronger-willed people that will come. So that it will be Kareach Sodeh Asher Beracho Hashem. It'll have the fragrance of eternity to it, the fragrance of Gan Eden. And that therefore that was the culmination of the brachas that were given to Yaakov. It was the fact, so to speak, that in spite of everything, he and his descendants would remain indestructible. And that, hey, you see that, even if you can't see it in front of you for a minute. And the Jewish people are always built by people who are not realists, who have a different eyesight, who see a world that the ordinary person doesn't see at all. And it's certainly not reflected in the general society. But that's the bracha that the Ribono Shel Olam gave us. And that bracha continues, and it really fuels our time and describes our situation, that we will be Kareach Sodeh Asher Beracho Hashem. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashi Omer Rotza HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakos Es Yisrael Aficha Chibur Lahem Torah Mitzvot Shenemar Adonai Chafetz Leman Tzidko Yagdil Torah V'Yadir.